Hey, it's Junkman from VintageRock.com, and yes, we are still here at Fender at NAMM 2019. Now, fans of the Telecaster and fans of Led Zeppelin alike, we got the Jimmy Page guitar, which Steve is going to tell us all about right here. You're going to love this.
Oh, we do. It's a dream project. As you know, the guys on the forums and everywhere else, they've always said, why doesn't Jimmy do this? Why doesn't this happen? Or they built their own clones and that kind of thing. And finally, it's all come together. We've got some great custom shop models that Jimmy's done that are so exacting. It's incredible. But we've been able to do some production guitars here to help join the party and just spread the Jimmy love as much as we can. People don't, really recognize that the first Zeppelin record was all on essentially this Telecaster. His early days with the Yardbirds and the new Yardbirds, it was a Tele. It was a dang Tele. But it was a Tele only Jimmy Page, his sound, his feel comes through and makes it even more of a unique guitar. So to start out with, one of the things that anybody can go out and get is our Ensenada-made Jimmy Page Telecaster. So this has the famous graphics on it, the weird metallic rainbow material underneath the clear pickguard, and it's crazy. Now, for all of our guitars, we've gone through and tried to duplicate the specs of his original as best as humanly possible. So even this guitar, which is done in Ensenada, has the same headstock scoop. It's got the same neck shape, which is a really unique kind of rounded back with a shoulder. It's kind of considered a thin D, but all I know is it's incredibly comfortable. Even though, it's still a 7¼ inch radius with vintage frets, it doesn't feel that way at all with this particular neck. It's a breeze, and it's so cool. It is really cool, because you always wondered, how did Jimmy do all that on a 7¼ inch guitar and all that? And
now, initially, what year guitar was he using?
Okay, so that's the hardest.
Or was it a hybrid?
So it's hard to say, okay? So as a lot of us know, Fender in the era from the late 50s through the early mid-60s, it was use what you've got when you've got it. And so one of the cool things that we've been able to do on this that is exactly like his guitar, which for the most part is purported to be like a 59 or a 60, but there's little bits and pieces that are like late 58, kind of weird places in 59, but also early 60. So we're not really sure. We know that the neck stamp, I believe, has a 60 date on it. But if we have a look here, just like Jimmy, we've top-loaded the bridge. So this is a top-loading bridge, but it's also drilled out for body through, which mimics his guitar exactly. But the way that Jimmy did it was through the top, which is another thing that helped give him a very unique Telecaster tone and just create something all new that people weren't used to hearing from a Telecaster. So this one, again, you get a nice ash body and just gorgeous. And the graphics, special serial numbers, and of course Jimmy's signature on the back. Not gold paint marker, but hey, we'll take what we can get for these guitars.
Is it heavy? I mean,
it's not heavy.
Not heavy at all.
Of course, every set of wood's going to be a little bit different, so there's no weight guarantee or anything like that. And just like in 1959, give or take, you either got one that was featherweight or weighed like 12 pounds. So we try not to hit that 12-pound mark, but wood is wood. Mother Nature does what Mother Nature does. So we just do our best to try to work with it and make the best guitars we can.
I feel enlightened just by touching one of those things,
Yeah, these and just to hold it, to know the story, and you don't even need to be a Zeppelin fan. You don't even need to be a Jimmy Page fan to appreciate this, because what he did with this guitar and the things that came out of it shaped what we know as harder rock and roll. We wouldn't have any of that without a Telecaster.
Now, how much input did Jimmy actually have with the technicians and things like that on that? I mean, how many hours? I mean, can you?
So I can't speak to that exactly, but I know that we had guys go out to the UK. They spent time with Jimmy at Jimmy's house, especially for the custom shop stuff, where they really got to the minutia of everything, like the headstock scoop. Like, we thought we knew what a 59 headstock scoop was like, but his was different. You know, along the lines, like, you know, we did the JMJ Mustang bass last year, which is so cool, but you notice the headstock thickness on that is, gosh, almost 3/32 thicker than what it was supposed to be. But it was just that day in '66 when that bass rolled off the line, so that's one of the cool parts about these, is no two are ever identical no matter what you do, but we've done everything we can to make these as right as possible. So this is our sort of starter entry for Jimmy Page. And now, this is how the guitar ended up. Let's see how it looked just before it became like this. So the story goes that Jimmy was gifted this Telecaster by another uber famous guitar player. And it was, of course, just a classic white blonde a Telecaster. Excuse me. And so, you know, Jimmy being Jimmy, went and found these mirrors and put them on because he wanted the lights to bounce and have more visual nature to his guitar playing during the shows, which, you know, eventually led to the sort of rainbow mirror thing on that Tele. So
the swinging 60s at its best.
You know it. You know, these were little like truck stop mirrors that he you know, just pasted right on. We do, you know, you get the mirrors, they come in the case. Just to make sure that people don't, or they don't get broken in shipping and things like that. We include a nice little sheet that tells you how to apply them and where they go to be correct. But, you know, it's just a great Tele. We've also, and this goes across the line for all these guitars, the pickups are as close to the actual pickups in his guitar as we could make them. You know, we started off what we felt was a good representation of a late 50s pickup, and just our engineers with Jimmy and everything, they just nailed it. And this is one of the coolest sets of Tele pickups we've ever done. And we've done so many great Tele sets, but this is so unique, and for Jimmy Page, just so cool. And if you feel like this neck shape matches the one on our Ensenada guitar, and you get all the same stuff, the you know, over the finished decal, the vintage keys, the great classic white blonde finish like that. And again, top load or string through, just like his. So we kept the same specs throughout the line.
To see stuff in between too, like with the paint.
And that is that classic blonde finish from Fender, is you can always get a little bit of that grain popping through. Right. It varies, of course, because it depended on the mix of the finish that day and who was spraying and how tired were they, you know, all that stuff that makes that era of Fender so unique.
It's funny, this guitar too, you could see like Hendrix or Prince playing something like this with the mirrors, you know?
Man, absolutely.
Or, you know, many others, but those two come to mind when I think about that.
And wouldn't it have been great to actually see those guys play something like that?
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, man.
Hey, do what you can.
You got this.
We have this, and we have the memories, and now, especially for guys that love Jimmy, love Zeppelin, now you can play the dream. And whether it's the highest end of the highest or something that everybody can collect, man, we got it. And that was a big thing for him as well. He wanted to be able to share. And it's great. Young, old, it doesn't matter. This is a sound that was created, and we've followed ever since. So
it's terrific stuff, man. Fender's really gone above and beyond, and they really are the talk of the show at NAMM this year, 2019. You guys really, really, really stepped it up a notch with a lot of different products, even more so than the ones that you showed us. So.
Right. Oh, no. We've got innovation and genius and creativity all throughout, whether it's our side, our specialty partners on the other side. Man, it's an amazing team. And we get to do some of the funnest stuff on the planet. So we all get to come together and make it great.
So Fender.com.
Absolutely. Check it out. Like everything you want to know and more. And don't forget Fender.com. We've got lots of great articles that our editorial teams always work on. And great in-depth stuff with artists, histories on our hardware and guitars and stuff. So it's more than just shopping. We want you to go to Fender.com and just enjoy, read, get lost, and you know, breathe it in, and just keep on playing.
Well, Steve, I want to really thank you so much for being so good and showing us all these products, man. You've been very, very, very helpful and incredibly well knowledgeable about it. So they got a good guy. So.
It's been great. Thanks a lot for checking everything out.
All right, it's Junkman from VintageRock.com. Again at NAMM 2019 at Fender. So enjoy the products.